If you are trying to sell anything online right now and you are feeling like an icky capitalist piglet because world events are basically like a dumpster fire, then this episode is for you. I'm sharing 5 personal insights and revelations about running a business as an ADHD entrepreneur that I've learned over the years, and why running an ethical business may actually be one of the most powerful things that you could be doing right now. You've entered Hexotica, the inner sanctum for creative rebels crafting profitable online businesses and radically self-reliant AF alternative lifestyles. I'm your host, marketing mentor, Christine Rice, and this is episode 36. So I have a few secrets for you today. These are life revelations that I've learned over the past 18 years running online businesses. Insight into how to prod my ADHD brain into taking action on my biggest dreams. Day by day, step by step, as a dual American Australian whose birth country has been like the crack house rental of the global neighborhood, right? I mean, sometimes I think that it's these little thought nuggets that we crave when we're online scrolling. We're craving to see these thought nuggets from each other, right? We're wondering, what new insight can this person give me? What can I learn that's new that will give me a new reason to continue living? How are other people coping with what's going on right now? And how can we make sense of it or laugh about it or, share some tips on how to keep going, right? And we're in this information overload period where there's just so much AI-generated garbage out there that we need to find each other's authentic thoughts, and we need to be able to connect in that way. So that is what I want to offer you today. Real personal insights that were very personal aha moments for me. Real insights into what it takes in your mind to run an online business and to become self-employed and to start making more money and to believe that you can make money. So we're doing these thought nuggets and we're doing it listicle style, okay? I'm sharing 5 of these biggest life revelations for creating abundance in business. Even when you have a massively distracted neurospicy squirrel brain like mine, and the junkies down the street are screaming obscenities and they're throwing poo at each other, because that's sometimes what it feels like when you look at Israel and the US, right? So I'll show you how to prod your ADHD brain into taking action despite whatever is happening on the news, and to actively build creative abundance without feeling weirded out that you're out here trying to sell things and make a living when the world is on fire. So this is not dululu-is-the-solulu advice to selfishly fixate on your own life and ignore reality, right? It's more about reframing how you're thinking about these grim realities in order to cope in the best possible way, and gently shifting thoughts that might not be serving you or anyone else with thoughts that not only help you in your business, but that also serve to help raise the general vibe of the whole world right now, because God knows we need it, right? So if you've ever felt like an icky little capitalist piglet because you're trying to sell stuff when people are out there protesting for basic fucking human rights, then this is for you. So first of all, let's define what is abundance in business. And I'm going to share with you how I define it. And here's a hint, it is not all about money, okay? I don't define it around money. I think that abundance in business is the feeling as a business owner that there is enough for all of us out there, right? It's the idea of abundance, that there is more than enough. In fact, I think that there's more than enough money, resources, and even of opportunities, right? And that every creative business owner out there has the potential to enjoy unlimited success. Not everyone wants it, but the few that do choose to go after it have the potential of having it. Despite the fact that there are a lot of people out there who are actively hoarding wealth, who are withholding resources, and who are generally being just big, giant pains in the asses for the rest of us here, the 99%, right? The orcas know exactly who I'm talking about. So it's an optimistic mindset that through collaboration and shared innovation, we could all be better off if we just put our heads together, right? If we just worked together. But what I'm not saying here, and what it is not the delusional belief that we don't face massive opposition to our pursuit of unlimited success, right? And it's not a denial of privilege either, or of oppression. As ADHD entrepreneurs, we have biological reasons that are stopping us from being able to pursue it. But it is the hope that with enough collective agreement, we could all enjoy abundance, okay? That's the idea. That's how I define it. I believe that the opposite to abundance in business is fear-based competition, right? So it's just a non-competitive, more cooperative way of being a business owner, working with other business owners, and being in the world, right? Abundance in business focuses on the win-win that we can give each other, right? It's a win-win path of thinking. And it's about sharing knowledge and seeing our failures as valuable lessons rather than as proof that there's not enough to go around for all of us, okay? It is a win-win way of thinking. And this way of thinking is a choice. So the way that I see it is for our brains, it's like you have the choice between a greasy hot dog or you have the choice of a colorful, rainbow, very healthy 3-bean salad, right? Only one of those things is going to be a resource for your mind and your body and your life, right? And the other thing is just going to be a resource for the sewage system, the worms, and for fertilizer, okay? It's about making the choice for our brains that is healthier, a healthier way of thinking, a healthier way of being in the world, right? So neurospicy business owners can create abundance in business by knowing how to use their ADHD traits and knowing where their limitations are and where their resources are, right? So for example, traits like hyper-focused creativity or pattern recognition. But whether you are neurodivergent or not, you may find these 5 personal life revelations I'm sharing here helpful for helping you to stay on track with your goals, despite feeling like we are constantly on the verge of the end of the world here. I mean, sometimes it does feel like, what new news we have this morning when I wake up, right? And it's especially for those many, many people that I see online who are feeling icky or guilty or just kind of weird that they're out there trying to promote their businesses and sell their handmade jewelry or wreaths when all this other shit's going down. They feel like, where's my place to be able to do that? How is it landing? How can I show up like that with all this stuff going on, right? So here are the 5 super enlightening mindset revelations that I have about business, mindset things that really shifted how I did business and how I showed up in the world. So the first big revelation that I had as an ADHD entrepreneur was that executive management in business equals emotional detachment from outcomes. So imagine how much less anxiety that you would have in your life if you were able to give less fucks over things, for example, like who wins an election, especially when it's not even in your country, right? Or if anybody likes, comments, or shares on that last post that you created, or what your clients think about anything outside of the deliverables that you were paid to do for them and that you did your best work on, right? All that second guessing and uncertainty about the client relationship or your work. Or if you didn't have any anxiety about how long things were going to take, how long it was going to take you to get to your milestones in your business, right? What if you could just enjoy the process of work no matter what was happening in the world. Not because you did not care, right? I know you care a lot. I care a lot, but because you valued your work highly enough to not allow yourself to get distracted. What would that feel like if you put your work first, if you put your business vision first? So I realized years ago that I was just caring way too much about too many things that just are not important to me, right? They may be generally important to society. A lot of them are important. But the critical question we have to ask ourselves as business owners is, how important is this to me right now? Overconcern is just going to create anxiety, and your anxiety is going to block your productivity. The only thing that we should be concerned about with 100% of our being is, does it directly impact my business vision? The answer is going to be no for like 99% of all the stuff that we worry about out there. Concern and keeping ourselves aware and informed of everything that's happening in the world is our responsibility as a good citizen, right? It is. And as a content creator, as a contractor for our clients, and as business owners. But anxiety is a sign of over-concern. And the remedy for anxiety is detachment. It is healthy to be emotionally detached from outcomes, whether that be an outcome of an election or of how the last post that you did on Instagram is going to land, or what clients privately think, or how long it's going to take you to build your business vision. We have to stay on track to keep working on our dream. And in order to do so, we have to be able to detach from all outcomes. So this is a skill. The more you can detach emotionally and focus on your work, the more you're going to be successful, the more you're going to get done. It is a healthy detachment, not an ignoring kind of, head in the sand detachment, a healthy level of detachment. I believe that as ADHD entrepreneurs, anyone with ADHD or neurodivergent usually has a high sensitivity. So any kind of disruptions can be a little bit too exciting or distracting. So we have to learn how to kind of just put our emotions aside and detach. The more we can do that, the more productive we can be. So now you might be wondering, well, how do I detach from my feelings, right? I don't want to put my head in the sand or ignore my feelings. I need to process them, right? Of course, we need to process them. And that is leading me to the second revelation, which is that productivity in business equals taking responsibility for your own joy. So mega rich business gurus out there love to tell us that we need to grind 7 days a week and eat instant noodles in order to earn six figures, right? But unless you find enjoyment in grinding itself, that is a fast track to resentment and to burnout. Do not recommend it, right? So several years into my self-employment and from working from home, I realized that I had been trying to outsource my joy. I had been trying to find it at my home, on weekends, on late evenings, in alcohol, or just doing things that really weren't serving me. I was trying to find it in my partner. I was trying to find it in friends. I was trying to find it in things that used to bring me joy. And what I realized is that we cannot find our joy. We have to make it. I realized that I was tired of going to the same mall for late Thursday night shopping alone with my diary, which had always been kind of my thing. Get my nails done, I'd go shopping, I'd write in my diary. It was some time alone, right? I got tired of the same kind of parties, the same kind of clubs, the same kind of cafes, restaurants. I got so bored. Because like many people with ADHD, I have like a really ravenous appetite for novelty, right? Like I cannot stand doing the same thing too often. And I realized that I needed to take an inventory of all the things that I crave and take responsibility to give those things to myself rather than hoping to find them somewhere in people and in places and in routines. Because I believe that boredom is a sign of inner turmoil. It is another form of anxiety. The remedy for boredom is to explore what emotional needs we have that are not being met. I discovered that my strong inner need for adventure and novelty was not being met, right? So I made plans, and this is the plans that I made. Enjoying mini day trips into the city, which is Melbourne here, by myself via public transport so that I could just explore and walk around the city on foot, read a book, have a couple glasses of wine, write in my diary at a cafe, but go into the city with no errands in mind, no meeting up with somebody, no destination, just wander and allow myself to just enjoy having that sense of freedom that I work so hard to have with being self-employed, right? Another thing I did was meeting up with like-minded people at business, marketing, and networking events or child-free events or ADHD women's groups. Meeting new people is one of the biggest novelty scratching itches. I love meeting new people now. And even though I'm an introvert, I find meeting new people really helps me to get over a sense of, ennui, right? Another thing I did was staying at a hotel alone overnight just to have time alone, which really, really brings me joy. Like, I have my own bedroom here I share with my partner, and even though, I loved my partner and my two dogs, I do live in a little A-frame house in the woods, and it does get quite small. I just also really find that being in a new place, being in a new environment, and being alone in a hotel or an Airbnb is just extremely rejuvenating. So I think that this kind of self-care, it's not so much about doing things either, right? It's about self-coaching yourself. So a lot of times when I would go out on these adventures, I had my diary with me. My diary is my way of processing my emotions. When you self-coach yourself, you're asking yourself, what is it that I need? Why is it that I'm feeling? What is it that I'm feeling? Why is it that I'm feeling that way? What am I afraid of? What do I want to feel? Self-coaching like this helps us to process our feelings so that we're not mired in them. We're able to detach from the emotions once we sift what emotions are serving us and what emotions we don't need and that are not serving us. The kind of stories and narratives and meaning that we're giving things, maybe like that's happening on the news or that's happening in the world, which are not helping us in our business vision. So the more we do this, the more energy that we have toward building our dream and the more productive we can be. And the third life revelation that I had that has really helped me feel abundant in business is that customer service in business equals showing up for yourself first. Okay, so here's some little confession time, okay? So on the day that someone tried to assassinate Trump when he's on the campaign trail, I got way hyperfixated on politics and I gave way too many fucks about what people were saying about it and scrolling online, way too excited, right? I was just like ravenous for all the memes, both positive and negative. I posted a long, angry rant that was indirectly aimed at people that I knew that supported MAGA, right? And a couple hours later, I deleted it because I realized that I had really let myself down. I don't usually delete things, but in this case, I did because I asked myself, how is the energy that I am putting into this serving my business dream or my dream customer? How is this rant got anything to do with my main marketing message? Other than in some marketing circles, they'll say you need to make messages that throw rocks at common enemies, right? But typically in business marketing, it's best to make the enemies something internal, like overwhelm or imposter syndrome, more relatable, right? So my divisive rant was not serving my audience. And what doesn't serve our audience doesn't serve our business vision. I've often felt conflicted about how much we should share about our political or religious beliefs online, right? When we're running an online business. But I now think that it comes down to an easy litmus test. Does it help my audience? If not, don't post it. I want to show up for myself and my big dream, which means showing up for my audience above anything else. To do the emotional labor for them, not shed my emotional baggage on them, right? So when we clean up our own energy, by default, we're cleaning it up for the people that we're serving as well. And we are helping to grow our business vision, and we're working on our dream. Number 4, growth in business equals patient manifesting. So I realized this when, after a few years in business, if I were on a consult call with a client and they said to me, nothing is working, everything is just so slow, nothing's happening, I'm following the strategy, it's just not working, I'm about to close up, give it all up, go back to full-time work. So then I would ask them, well, how long have you been in business? And if they said anything less than 18 months, then I know that their number one issue is a mindset issue. Their impatience. Because service businesses, they usually take 3 to 4 months to become profitable if they're marketing for sales, right? If they're doing their sales right. But product businesses, like tangible package inventory type businesses, on the other hand, they will take a minimum of 13 months on average just to break even. So it all depends on the marketing strategy and the budget, of course, right? But the key input for the business owner is always their mindset. And when I know that the issue a client is facing is a mindset issue, some of the signs are, for example, usually unreasonable expectations for how fast they can grow their audience or their Instagram following. Or they are afraid of running any paid ad campaigns because they just don't understand that they're still always going to be buying data, right? So even when they're not making leads and sales in the first, few days or weeks, even running a Facebook ad campaign, if it's not working really well for them, they don't understand that they're still getting data. They're still collecting. The part of marketing that people don't often have patience for is the experimentation and the unknowing and uncertainty stage. And they have usually unreasonable and unrealistic expectations for how fast things will work. And they need to understand there's always a different changing environment, right? Like right now, it's very different than just 2 years ago. So other things that are a mindset issue are procrastination, poor time management, and overwhelm. These are also just often mindset issues. Even if you have ADHD, these are things that can be worked through. They have to be seen as issues that there are strategies for getting around, right? That's what I've learned for myself. So for all of these things, if you had a mentor to help you see your thoughts that are not serving you, then you would understand how and why they are mindset issues. And to help you believe in yourself or in the data that you may not quite understand enough to trust just as much as an experienced marketer does. Abundance in business is a feeling of patience and calm. Enjoying the work we do while having extreme clarity on why we are doing it, right? So we're taking care of ourselves so that we can better take care of others. And keeping our big business vision bright as fuck in our minds and not forgetting who we are serving as we work toward building that vision. So this was one, if not the biggest transformations in my thinking that led immediately to making more money and having more success with anything that I do, right? When I let go of my need to meet deadlines or feeling disappointed that things were not happening faster, right? As soon as I started to ease into the reality that the choosing of self-employment is a long haul flight to success, I relaxed and chose to enjoy the ride, right? And as soon as I did, immediately after, that's when I would wake up to client referrals. That's when I would get overnight sales. That's when I would have big jumps in my audience growth. That's when miracles would happen. The universe takes note that you're in receive and wait for my order to arrive mode, not demand where it's at with every postal checkpoint mode, like looking at your app constantly. When's it going to get here? When's it going to get here, right? Demanding Karens cannot manifest. Source responds to the energy of a calm nervous system and to the authentic self-expression of creative flow. When you are impatient, you are keeping your mind and body on alert. You are blocking your ability to receive. Number 5, financial abundance in business equals self-compassion before money. Thinking about self-compassion for yourself before you think about money. Now, this was a much more recent revelation that I've had because, as some of you listeners might know, I just made the transition from being a freelance social media manager to being a marketing mentor in the last year or so, right? So I'm helping clients to grow their audience and online revenue. And it's made me kind of hustle a lot harder for my money, as they say. And so my ideas about money and how fast it's going to come to me and what my deadlines are have changed. And I've realized that when we beat ourselves up over not meeting financial goals or subscriber goals or follower goals, we are falling out of alignment with the nurturing, patient, loving relationship with ourselves that being an entrepreneur requires. It's like when you're in a romantic relationship and you are saying nasty things about your partner's character rather than about their behavior. They say that's one of the worst things that you can do in a relationship. When you say to yourself, you're a failure, why aren't you better at this? When it should be, okay, so that didn't work, but good on you for trying. Now, let's see if we can try something else. Let's see if we can make this work. Let's start over and start again. Let's look at the strategy again and apply ourselves to the strategy again. What if you focused on how you feel each day rather than on how much you're earning? How much more energy would that create for you to keep experimenting, keep building, keep networking? So this is one of the most critical skills that you can have as a business owner. The faith in your eventual success before there is any evidence of success. Running a business is like having an open quarry where you have to keep digging to reach success. Without all the trucks of self-compassion running 24/7, removing all the dirt and the rocks, you are never going to find what you're looking for, right? Faith is a full-on industrial operation, but it runs on self-compassion first. Then, from all the digging that runs on that self-compassion, you can start making the money and enjoying the success. But you've got to have the engine of self-compassion to keep going. It does not work the other way around. The better you feel, the more money you will make. All right. So in summary, abundance in business is a mindset that you can choose to have now. You can access abundance in business right now, right? It is the belief that there is more than enough opportunity, creativity, and success available for all of those willing to pursue it. A lot of people are not going to be willing to pursue it. Even in a world that is a flaming dumpster fire filled with greedy billionaires, filled with inequality, privilege, and competition, right? Rather than operating from fear or scarcity, an abundant business owner chooses patience, collaboration, continuous learning, continuous experimenting, and a win-win way of thinking, right? So what I hope that you are going to take away the most, what I really hope that I've helped you see, is that abundance in business is crafted intentionally, internally first. It starts from within. When you feel it in here, then it will be reflected out here. That is the main thing that I really feel it is the power for being able to manifest money, being able to hold the ups and downs and the roller coaster of being in business, and the thing that is going to see you succeed. Now, how many people, just think for a second, how many people are willing to do that? There are so many people that don't believe that there is a potential for success for everybody. And so they're already out of the game, right? But the people that do believe, you crazy entrepreneur who has this business, you are here believing in yourself and you believe that it is possible. And I believe that it is possible, even despite all these things that are against us, right? These are the tools that can help you be successful. especially for my neurodivergent and creative entrepreneurs out there. Abundance in business comes from learning to work with your natural sensitivities and your neurodivergent traits instead of against them. And that's what I hope some of these revelations that I've had and shared here will help you really see. This is how I've overcome my ADHD limitations. So ultimately, it's less about chasing money and it's more about cultivating a calm and resilient mindset that allows creativity, opportunity, and income to flow naturally over time. All right, my lovely. So this is the end of the podcast. And now I'm going to do a quick summary of what has been happening behind the scenes. So today I'm very excited to announce that I finally figured out a bit of tech around my videos, and my video quality has just massively improved. Only took me about 3 hours of playing around, but it's much, much better now. And I'm really proud of myself because I could have taken all that time to jiggle around with it and wait till it was perfect before I did my very first episode for this podcast, right? But I decided that done is better than perfect. And now I'm 36 episodes and I have better sound quality and better video quality than I did in that first episode. And I'm proud of myself because as someone who can be a perfectionist and take way too long doing everything, I decided to go ahead with it, though it was far from how I wanted it to look. And now, slowly, progressively, I've taken the steps to make it better. So if you are out there sitting on an idea to do a reel, to do a podcast, to do a blog post, or to do anything with your business, do it. Just do it. Just make it messy. Just do it before it's perfect. Just get it done. Done is better than perfect, as they say. It's really, really a good motto, especially for ADHD business owners. Just do it. Just do it. You will get better. It will get better in time. And in the meantime, your processes, your workflows will get faster and everything will get easier as well. I now can whip out a podcast in just a couple of hours where before it took me 3 days. So everything gets faster and easier. All right, my lovely. So that is it for today. If you enjoyed this topic and you want to know a little bit more about how to navigate yourself around politics, go and check out episode number 27, where I talked about the brand messaging strategy that I use to turn my rage into political content that is actually helpful for your audience. Other than that, make sure that you leave a hex yeah on the comments in the YouTube channel if you're watching. That lets me know who you are, and I will follow you and support you in your business. Until next week, have a great week. Work on your business. I love you. Bye.